I'm sure a lot of you have heard my webinars before, and you might find some of this information a bit repetitive, although I've tried to change it up a bit. And the reason I'm talking about what I'm talking about is because we're really focused now on telling as much as we can about things to do in the different seasons for your clients, beyond what you see always in the advertisements and in the brochures, etc. So first thing is really exciting news. We have a new campaign, which usually these big campaigns only go out into North America, but this one is going out in Australia. So next week, it's called the British Columbia Effect, and we're really proud of it. It is all about science first. So the British Columbia Effect is that science states 3 days in any in a natural setting is good for your brain, is good for your health, is good for your overall well-being. So from the scientific research, we're saying, hey, you should get your clients through. The clients should come to British Columbia. So why are we good? Why is this British Columbia Effect good for us? Well, we've got more than 25,000 kilometers of coastline. We've got mountain ranges. We've got big nature experiences. And we're really close to urban centers like Vancouver, like Victoria. So we're really focused on talking about those, we'll call it shoulder seasons. And to us, the definition of that shoulder season is really traveling outside of those July and August peak periods in the peak areas. So we're not saying don't send your clients in summer, which would be sort of July, August. We're saying if you do, here's some other places to go. And hey, come in the spring, come in the fall. I just was there last week in the fall with the Canada Specialist Mega Fam, and I have some great photos and stories to show you closer to the end of my presentation. So that is really what we're focused on. A little bit about the British Columbia Effect. So you'll be able to find this on our website. Here's the science. This will be playing out in social media channels like Instagram and Facebook around Australia next week. Of course, it's going to be one of those things that isn't going to load up. Just to add to my technology problems today, I might skip over this one. You can watch it on our website a little bit later on. We'll try this one. All about nature, our old growth rainforest, fresh air, fresh water, all things British Columbia. As I said, we'll be launching next week in Australia with 9 media. So there'll be stories written in the Sydney Morning Herald, the Melbourne Age, on traveller.com.au, and they're written by journalists who visited some of these places and have had these awe-inspiring experiences themselves. We just had Better Homes and Gardens editor in British Columbia last week, and I had a chance to catch up with her at the start and at the end of her trip. She went to Tofino, Vancouver, and Sonora Resort, and she literally ended the trip saying, I have no words to explain how amazing this place was. It just blew me away, and that's exactly what we're after. So we have trip ideas and itineraries loaded up on our website, hellobc.com. We have on the website, we'll be driving people to book their packages through our wholesalers in Australia, in turn to the travel agents. But regardless, we're really trying to just raise awareness of British Columbia. And like I said, we haven't done that specifically in this market before. So I hope that just means the phones ring, you get emails from clients saying, I want to go here, I want you to book it for me now. That's the goal. So back to more of the specific training, if you weren't already aware, but you're Canada Specialist, so I'm sure you know British Columbia is the province on the west side of Canada, with the gateway city of Vancouver. So this is the whole province. The top half of British Columbia is very full of nature and not very many people, a lot of wildlife. The trip that I just took with the Canada Specialist fam, we started from Vancouver, we flew to Kelowna, and then we went up to Vernon and stayed at Sparkling Hill Spa and Resort. We went up towards Kamloops, a place called Chase on the Shuswap, and we went all the way up towards Jasper to an area called Wells Gray Provincial Park. So we'll talk a bit more about that as well. So getting around British Columbia, we've got a lot of unique transportation options because we've got a lot of remote areas. So you're probably fairly familiar with Harbour Air, a great option to get clients between downtown Vancouver and downtown Victoria. These float planes are leaving every 10 minutes. It's 30 minutes in the air, so it's a much quicker way than, say, driving or taking the BC ferries, which is down at the bottom of the photo here. BC ferries is definitely our form of transport for most Canadians, so it's a way of life for getting your car to and from a lot of the islands, Vancouver Island, Haida Gwaii, going up towards Prince Rupert in the north. My recommendation with BC Ferries is book ahead, especially if your clients are going over summer months, weekends, and long weekends. Otherwise, they're sitting waiting to get on the ferry. And I know it's not always great to be able to have to pick a time like 10 a.m. on Saturday, the 24th of November, but for that extra $15, it's worth doing that and locking that in to get a ferry, to get on the ferry quickly. Whistler Air flies between Whistler and Vancouver and Whistler and Victoria in the summer months only, so about June 1st to September 30th, depending on when the lake is not frozen. I have done this trip and you fly over the glaciers and it is something spectacular. So again, it's not for everybody price-wise, but if they have the time, the budget, I would totally recommend it. It's just a great way to see. We get asked a lot, does my luggage fit on the aircraft? Because these are smaller aircraft. Those floats on the bottom fit luggage in them. It does say 25 pounds maximum, but what I have experienced many times is if they can fit it on weight-wise, they put it on. If they can't, it goes on the next flight. If you've got a group and maybe everyone's got big luggage, the best option is buy an extra seat on the aircraft. So that might be an extra couple $100, and then the luggage is guaranteed to get on with them. So lots of options there. Our newest transportation is the V2V. So this might look familiar. It's the same company that owns Fantasy Cruises in Queensland. They are traveling from downtown Vancouver to downtown Victoria. So V2V Vacations, and it's a 3-hour journey. They've got a first class and an economy class section. So first class is 3-course meal, all the drinks you'd like. Economy class is buy at the bar. And, you know, it gives you that experience to step on, walk down from your hotel, get on, 3 hours on the ferry, walk around, look at the wildlife, potentially see whales. So it's almost like a whale watching cruise as well. And it's just a great way to get between the two cities. Now, it runs May till the end of October. So again, not all year round, not in the winter. This is just a bit more about Harbour Air and Whistler Air and their service. So Richmond is the airport just outside of YVR. So you can float plane from there to many destinations. And then Vancouver, new this year, you can float plane all the way down to Seattle, right downtown. Really convenient, again, for clients who are wanting to get in easily, save the border crossing, etc. You can also now go to Tofino. And that journalist I had over there last week, she flew to Tofino, talking about a 45-minute flight over, and it saved you. The Victoria to Tofino drive is about 5 hours. Definitely beautiful, but for anybody who's time poor, great option if you've got people on cruises, but they want to do something extra, they don't have many days. Again, float plane to Tofino or something like that is an option. So, seasons, spring. Cherry blossoms, just like here in Australia at the moment. We've got a lot of cherry blossoms coming out in Canada in the spring, especially in British Columbia, because we have a lot less snow in our cities and along our coastline than the rest of Canada. So around March, you're seeing cherry blossoms like this in downtown Vancouver. Other great areas to visit in the spring, so Vancouver Island, City of Victoria, Tofino, the southern part of Vancouver Island, even Campbell River, is halfway up the island where you go to get to some of the bear lodges. Vancouver and the Fraser Valley, which is just east of Vancouver, have some great spring festivals. There's the Cherry Blossom Festival. There is the Tulip Festival, which is in the Fraser Valley. So for clients that are interested in that sort of thing, it's a great time to be there. And so when I say spring, I think of sort of April, May, and into start of June. Spring skiing, one of my hottest tips is coming skiing when school holidays line in March. Send your clients over then. Forget about January. It's colder, it's busier, and it's more expensive. March is much cheaper, much warmer, and there's a great snowpack already. So it's a great time to send clients. Bear watching starts in around the May time, and these bear watching lodges tell me that there's still availability in May. So you're seeing babies out and the mums and the cubs running around, and it can be a great experience. And of course, whale watching. So we've got a lot of orcas, and then we've got humpbacks. I was telling the last group that if you pop on Sonora Resorts Instagram account, there's an awesome video from just last week of a whale they saw literally meters from their dock, and it's something else. So seeing the whales for us is not quite the same as going out on a whale watching boat along the coast in Australia. It's some of the time it's literally like they're your next door neighbor. So those are great experiences for your clients. These are some photos of Vancouver and Victoria in the springtime. As I said, it's festival season, it's flowers blooming, it's beautiful weather at that time of year. These are all from Vancouver Island, so great spring Vancouver Island trips. Again, it's about the wildlife, the rugged coastlines, the old growth rainforests. And Vancouver is a great time really any time of the year, but spring is particularly great for going up to see Capilano Suspension Bridge or Grouse Mountain on the North Shore, 20 minutes from the downtown, free shuttle to get to both, right from outside the cruise ship terminal. And one of my hottest tips in Vancouver is get on a bike. They have bikes you can rent by the hour. They have bikes you can rent by the day. They have bike tours. These days there are bike tours, bike historical tours, bike and beer tours, bike and food tours. There's something for everybody, and Vancouver's a really flat, easy to get around city for cycling. Reminds me a lot of going around Melbourne. So again, if your clients want to be a little bit active, jump on a bike. Summer, we talked about the fact there's some busy places in British Columbia in the summer, but there's some not so busy places. So again, bear viewing lodges like Night Inlet, Great Bear Lodge, Spirit Bear Lodge. Again, they're telling me June, July, and to start of August for them is a quiet time. You will likely see bears, but you might not see as many as, say, in the spring or the fall time. But you've got other wildlife. So if you've got a client who's just a wilderness lover, wants to be out in a remote area, this is a great time. It's also the cheapest price for those lodges. Places like Whistler and Sun Peaks, really popular in the winter for skiing, but in the summer, a great bargain for accommodation. It's quieter, it's less expensive. For Sun Peaks, if you've got clients going across to the Rockies from Vancouver, maybe they need somewhere to stop rather than Kamloops or rather than Kelowna, pop them into Sun Peaks. You've got the chairlifts are running, you've got alpine hiking, flowers, all sorts of things going on, golfing. They've got segways up in Sun Peaks. In Whistler, mountain biking is becoming very popular, hiking, scenic touring. But again, the prices are just much less than other destinations like, say, Vancouver is in the summer or Kelowna is in the summer. If you've got clients driving to or from Jasper, we have lots of people commenting, oh, it's so busy in Jasper in the summer, I can't get a room in Jasper. Well, my hot tip is Blue River. So my other hot tip as of last week is Clearwater. So from Kamloops, Clearwater is about an hour. Blue River is a little bit further. Towards Jasper, and it's 2 hours from Jasper. So this is a heli skiing lodge in the winter called Mike Wigley's. In the summer, it's fairly quiet, really cheap, under $200 a night for a log cabin, and I have some photos in the next slide to show you that. So I stayed there myself a couple of years ago, and we just had a great time. We were able to light our own fire. We had like a fire at night in our cabin, and we had this beautiful property along the river to walk along. And again, we were only 2 hours from Jasper, so we were able to go to Jasper the next day, but we didn't have to deal with staying in Jasper or finding a room. and we were mid-September and it was really busy. Northern British Columbia, the north half of the province. If you've got any clients looking maybe Jasper to Prince Rupert on the Via Rail train, the Skeena train is a great option. It's a great driving destination. Smithers Terrace, these are really great for Indigenous culture, museums, heritage, also for outdoor adventures, whitewater rafting, hiking, that sort of thing happens in Northern British Columbia. And of course, wildlife, lots of wildlife, big bears, big moose, big elk. So this is a photo of some of the places I just talked about. That is Mike Wigley's in the top left. So that's one of the log cabins. Pretty awesome, just like people dream about in their in the movies and things they've seen about going to Canada. I always hear people say, I wish I could stay in a log cabin. Well, here's the chance. So like I said, try that one out for a summer booking. Lots of wildlife, black bears and grizzly bears. And of course, again, over in Whistler, you can be hiking, you can be scenic gondoling. There's even 35 black bears that live in the area. So you can do a bear interpretive program in the summer months. So this is fall. This is what we just did with the CSP fam last week. So we did see, and I've got my own photos to show you, scenery just like this. The fall colors returning, the yellows, the oranges, even the reds. And the weather was awesome. So I love fall. It's the harvest time in Canada. You get the freshest fruit and vegetables. It's also, we just had Canadian Thanksgiving this past weekend. So if you've got clients sticking around that long, you'll find they'll be able to go to a hotel for a nice turkey dinner. There are pumpkin patches all along the way. We saw pumpkin after pumpkin. So Halloween is obviously coming up. People are decorating their areas for Halloween and for the fall festivals. We've got some great wine festivals at the start of October. It's a great time for driving. Obviously, it's really beautiful. The wildlife viewing is great. The wilderness, the wildlife are out at this time of year getting fat for winter. So bears, the salmon are swimming. It's amazing. And my hottest tip is Wells Gray Provincial Park. So 16 years working with British Columbia, and I had never been to this place until last week. There are 41 waterfalls, and it was just stunning. And everything was very accessible. It's just off the road on the way to Jasper from Kamloops, and I have some photos to show you next. So these are some of the Okanagan area, down by Kelowna. So again, fall festivals, harvest, wine, lots of wine. Man, we drank a lot of wine when we were in the Okanagan. And there's more wineries every time I turn around. Now these are right from our trip last week. So as you can see, the weather is beautiful. We went whitewater rafting. We were wearing wetsuits, but it wasn't cold at all. We saw, these are a couple of the waterfalls that we saw. Like I said, these are three, there are 41 of them. The one in the top right is one of the tallest, twice as high as Niagara Falls. Obviously it's not as wide, but we were so far away it doesn't look that big, but it's huge. You can see by the road that the fall colors are changing. And the photo in the bottom right is a photo of Kamloops on a beautiful Sunday morning stroll through the city, doing a historical walking tour, and that was our view. So it was pretty awesome. These are some more of those wildlife shots. The bottom two of the grizzly bears are my photos from Grouse Mountain. So this is Kula and Grinder that live up in Grouse Mountain. We did breakfast with the bears, which happens in the morning, 7:30 a.m. And these guys are apparently this time of year trying to get fat for winter. They are eating 40 pounds of food a day, or they're putting, 40 pounds on a day. So they're up to like 925 pounds, which is divided by about half. You know, they're 400 kilos big. They're massive. And it just, I guess, goes to show you what they look like at this time of year. So I think we could have stayed there all day watching them wander around. They're very curious as well at this time of year. Last but not least, winter. British Columbia has always been known for our skiing, but we're really focused on talking to more people about visiting in December. Maybe you've got clients going on a leisure trip, they're on a business trip somewhere in North America, they want to come through Vancouver or Victoria on the way home. We've got the same Black Friday sales going on at the end of November that the Americans do. We've got some great outlet malls. We've literally flipped the switch the last weekend in November in Vancouver and Victoria for the Christmas lights, and that is only growing. Throughout the winter, we've got a lot of wildlife that you can see, like moose, fox, deer, elk. So it isn't just about bears who are sleeping in the winter. There's a lot of other opportunity. And we've got some wild storms on the West Coast, so great for storm watching. So these are some of Vancouver's winter photos. So downtown might not be snowing, but up on Grouse Mountain, this is a photo of Grouse Mountain. There's a lot of snow. They've got Santa's workshop and some real reindeer up there in December. Capilano flips the switch on from the end of November now to the middle of, or the end of January, sorry. So the Aussies that are skiing can come through Vancouver and see the Christmas lights throughout the park. And we've got some great food tours on Granville Island. Top left, that is Bouchard Gardens throughout the month of December for Christmas. I heard somebody say they did a webinar the other week, and they said there's 5 seasons at Bouchard, and the 5th one is Christmas. So they really go all out. They've got lots of great craft beer places. They're making pumpkin spice beers. They're making Christmas ales. So there's lots of great reasons to go on food and wine tours and craft beer tours at this time of year. And lastly, back to the BC Effect, our new campaign. If you hop on Hello BC, we've got lots of great itinerary ideas to showcase those seasonality, like storm watching, where I go for storm watching, what that itinerary might look like. So you can steal those itineraries, get your clients to look at those itineraries. We'll be driving people to these itineraries and ideas throughout our campaign. And these are my details. Like I said, Hello BC for the British Columbia Effect. On social media, we're Hello BC as well. And I'm based here in Sydney, so if you need my help with anything, please do shout out. Last but not least, I have 2 quiz questions, and I have a bit of a giveaway. So first person to email me the correct answers to the 2 questions gets this, minus the guy in the photo. You get the cookies, you get the backpack. So those are my 2 questions. Hopefully you got those from the presentation. That's my email at the top. So that's all for me. Thank you very much.